Welcome back, Happy New Year. I'm back making videos again after a winter break, so please join me. Today I'm going to be talking about late winter colour. At this time of year the garden's looking pretty bedraggled and we've had some frost this winter, so things have died back and maybe just died totally. So I want to show you in this video how you can inject some much needed late winter colour into your garden. And I'm going to talk about hellebores. Hellebores are stunning. They're absolutely amazing. They flower at a time of year when very little is flowering. So on a grey day in January or early February, they'll give you so much beauty. And they flower for a long time. They flower well into spring. So they give you a lot of joy for a long time. There's a lot to say about hellebores. They're amazing plants, quite exotic looking. Now, if you've already got hellebores in your garden, the leaves at this time of year are looking quite tatty. When the flowers start coming up, you can cut back the leaves, the old tatty leaves, to expose the flowers, and you'll get new leaves will regenerate and you'll get a nice fresh foliage. You can plant hellebores in borders or containers. I'm actually going to plant mine in containers because my front garden's looking a bit sad and I want to add some colour and beauty, because obviously I pass by it every day and it's really important that it's looking good all year round. So I'm going to plant hellebores in containers. Now, hellebores are perennial, so they'll come back every year, so they're quite expensive as plants, but they're so worth it because they come back every year and they flower for several months. They're evergreen to semi-evergreen. The leaf is also great, as well as the flower. It's quite a leathery leaf, quite tough, but it's slightly sort of exotic looking, and it looks really good after the flower has finished. You've still got this leaf in your garden. Hellebores mainly come in pink, purple and white. This Helleborus orientalis does. They've got lovely faces. Sometimes they're plain, sometimes they're speckled. I've got three types here. I've got Helleborus pennis pink. I've got this one, which is called Ice and Roses, slightly deeper pink. And then I've got this one, which is called Viv Florentina, Helleborus Viv Florentina. Apparently the Viv ones, they've been bred to be particularly long flowering. Now I'm going to plant these in a pot now, and I'm going to put them in my front garden, and I'm going to talk about what you can plant hellebores with. Now, hellebores, all parts of the plant are poisonous. They're toxic, they're very toxic. So I think it's a good idea to wear gloves when you're handling them because they can irritate the skin, and also they're harmful when you eat them, and you're not going to eat them. I wouldn't plant them if you've got pets that eat plants. Sometimes cats eat plants, sometimes dogs eat plants, so I would avoid them if you've got pets. Hellebores like a good soil. They're like a moist soil, but they also need drainage. So don't put them in a waterlogged soil, and don't put them in a very dry soil or in a hot sunny position. Put them in a shady situation with moist soil. Now I'm going to use John Innes number 3, which has some loam in it. Give a bit of substance, because this is going to live in a pot in the front garden, so it needs to have some good soil. Keep it going. I'm going to add a bit of multi-purpose, Rocket Grow. I love Rocket Grow, it's a really good compost. It's organic, peat-free. So hopefully you use a good sized pot. The other thing about hellebores is they need space. They get to about, well, between 45 and 60 centimetres height and spread. So they do need space. They're a big herbaceous perennial. So I'm going to turn this upside down. It's got some good roots. I'm going to go in there. And I think that'll make a real statement in my front garden. So I'm going to just backfill it. Put it in the front garden, and I'll show you what I've got in my front garden. It'll look good with the other plants. And I'll just backfill it now. Handfuls of John Innes number 3, alternated with multi-purpose compost. Now they like a neutral to slightly alkaline soil. That's their ideal, not an acid soil. What else can I tell you about hellebores? They're just totally fantastic, totally stunning. This has got lots of buds on it. So as I said, it'll flower for months. And what I might do every year or every other year is just top dress it. So take away a bit of the soil, because the nutrients in the compost don't last more than about 2 or 3 months, and replace it with some new compost. I might even give it a bit of manure, a bit of well-rotted manure. And this is going to be a very happy hellebore. So there we go, that's done. Leave space for watering, about an inch, and I think that's going to look completely gorgeous. And I'm going to pot up some more in my front garden and put them in situ, and I'll show you them actually in the front garden so you can see what they look like. Now I'm in my front garden and I'm going to plant the rest of the hellebores so you can see what they look like in situ and how they combine with the other plants that I've got in this garden. This is a pot garden, it's east facing, so it's part sun, part shade, so the hellebores will be happy here. And the rest of the plants also like similar conditions. I've got camellia, rhododendron, pyrrhus, hydrangea, viburnum tinus, and they'll associate really well with the hellebores. Hellebores also look really nice with ferns in woodland schemes or shady borders. They work well with sarcococca, Fatsia japonica, other shade-loving plants. This plant is coming out, the hellebores are going to go in. This is geranium, pelargonium, summer flowering, so it's my summer bedding. I treat it as an annual because it's frost tender, so that's going to come out because the frost has affected it. The hellebore is going to go in. So I'm going to take those out. And I'm going to renew the soil so the hellebore has some nice new compost. Now that's the hellebores planted in this pot. I'm going to now move them backwards. And I've noticed on the label they're called winter angels, which I think is a lovely description for hellebores, flowering just the time of year when there's very little else in flower. So they really are winter angels. So that's going to go back in here. Lovely flowers, lovely nodding flowers. And then I'm going to plant up one more pot. I'm going to plant my last hellebore in this pot. This conifer is going to come out because it's half dead. It's run out of steam. Plants in pots don't always last very long. I've had this in this pot for about 3 or 4 years, and I'm actually going to take it out now, get rid of it, and plant the hellebore. That's coming out, and I'll chuck that. Now the conifer behind it's also looking really sad. I'm actually going to replace that. Later in the year I'm going to buy another conifer, because I really like conifers in this garden. They give a lot of structure, they get a bit of height, they're evergreen, they look great in the winter, at Christmas time, with lots of lights around them. So this is going to go in here. I'm going to put it next to the viburnum tinus. I think the pinky flower will look really nice with the pink of the hellebore. And in passing, I just want to show you this pot because the spring bulbs are growing through. And I've got winter cyclamen on the top. So now is the moment to remove the winter cyclamen because they're going over their frost tender. They're still looking all right, but I need to allow the spring bulbs to come through properly. So I'll lift those. And that's what you do, because I've basically got spring bulbs planted underneath winter cyclamen. There you go. So I've rejigged my front garden a bit and placed the hellebores, and I think they're looking really nice. They've really spruced up my front garden and added a lot of late winter colour. So I hope you feel inspired to do the same. They make a nice grouping with this viburnum tinus, and then you've got the spring bulbs to cut. Well, they're already coming up. And so there's hope here, and there's beauty, and there's joy, and there's colour. So buy some hellebores. They're great value, and they add a lot of colour. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.